Hello, I'm Pamela Davis Brown. Welcome to episode 249 of the Well Done Life podcast. And hello, and welcome back to the Well Done Life podcast. I'm your host, Pamela Davis Brown. If you are new here, hey, how are you? Welcome. I am so glad that you're here with us this week. I hope that you will stay for a very long time and bring friends. If you've been here before, you guys know the deal. I love you deep. Thank you so much for continuing to rock with me. I am so grateful that you continue to support me on the journey, and I hope that I continue to add value, and you bring lots of friends too. So we're back and we have a whole new episode this week. And I'm sure you guys have noticed this wonderfully beautiful woman who is sitting here with me, Renel Turner. And we are going to talk to Renel today because I had a chance to meet her over a year ago and through my husband. And I have always, from the moment that I met her, she doesn't know this, from the moment that I met her, I knew she was different. I don't know. It's just something about her vibe and her energy. And so she's not just a really beautiful woman, but she's also an amazing business owner and now an author. And so I took this opportunity to say, you know what? I'd like to talk to you and I want to get to know you. I want to get up into business just a little bit. I want to talk about the new book and all the great things. So I am not going to kind of fit my normal script. This is going to be something different. And so I hope everyone knows, believe me, I'm sending prayers and love to each and every one of you. And I'm ready to kind of dive in. So I'm going to turn it over to Renel to introduce herself to the Well Done Life audience. And let's get started. So tell us all about you and introduce yourself, ma'am.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Renel Turner. I am the owner of Nelly's Treats Boutique Bakery. My business has been open for about 5 years now. I'm a self-taught baker. I started baking one day. I just said, I really like baking. So I went ahead and I realized that I had a talent and a skill when it comes to baking and decorating. And during the pandemic, we all were home. And that's really when my business took off, to be honest. I started teaching virtual baking classes. And then I decided, I think it's time to open up my shop. So I went ahead and I opened up my bakery. So now I specialize in custom cakes. I teach classes throughout the area where I'm located. And then I went ahead and decided to write a book about my lovely journey of where I've been in my life and so on. And so here we are.
Well, I'm really excited for everything that you do. And I wish I kind of had known you back in the day of the pandemic because I went through like a baking cocktail making thing. So I would have loved like some virtual courses. So I'm just really glad I got a chance to know you now, even though it's kind of a balance as I'm trying to unbig my back. It is really like I have to just be gentle with what I do with you, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
But it's a struggle sometimes.
I know. Yeah, we're going to have a good time, promise. So before we get started, I do want to ask you one question because I think it's just appropriate with everything. How are you doing today? Are you having a good day?
I'm having a fantastic day. Today, my book launched today. So I'm excited about that. And then some, A Baker's Journey. And, I'm just excited to really be here, be able to share my thoughts with everyone. And yeah, so today's a great day overall. And looking for more days like this in the future.
Hey, I love it. That's right. We need more good days.
Yes. And how are you, I should ask?
Well, I'm doing really well. It has definitely been quite a week, but I'm good. I feel good.
Good.
Even like life is crazy, but I'm good. So thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
Good.
So ma'am, how would you like you said, you built yourself and when you were telling us about you, how would you describe the woman that you are today?
The woman that I am today. So I would have to describe myself as I'm very adventurous.
Hmm.
I love to explore new things. I love to have new experiences.
Hmm.
I am definitely a social butterfly. I talk a lot,
Yeah, that's what this is.
and
Yeah.
I love it. So I love that we're having this conversation. But I definitely would say that I really am business focused. I really enjoy what I do as far as with my business, and I feel like I'm just very creative. I'm in a space of peace. I'm very peaceful. And it just allows me to do I feel like I could do whatever I want at this moment in my life. I feel confident enough. So that's who I am. I'm funny. I have a great sense of humor.
Yes,
I
you do.
really do. I get along with so many different people. So I'm just overall, I would say the woman that I am. I'm just very loving, and just enjoy, the space that I'm in today.
I love that for you. I mean, especially with you, like you said, launching the book and having a storefront, all of those things show such a level of confidence in yourself, which is so important nowadays as women. We have to believe in ourselves because before anybody else is going to believe in us. But I know
Yes.
that when I was reading through, luckily I got a chance to read a few excerpts of the book and some really good recipes that I will make one day when I have that cheat moment. But I wanted to ask you about when you were just starting out and you started out obviously with not as much investment capital behind you and a lot of uncertainty. What were you most afraid of? And how did you keep going in the midst of all that?
You know, Years ago, so my business has been open for about 5 years now.
Right.
And 5 years ago, if you would have asked me this question, my answer would be failure.
Mm.
And my definition of failure is different now. So then, to say failure would be I wouldn't succeed. The business would not, I wouldn't, have customers. It just profitable. It just wouldn't be successful. Um, Now, when I look at it, hindsight, failure means I didn't try to do something that I wanted to do. To me, that's failure at this moment. So when I think about the difficulties of running a business, it is very challenging at times, but I feel like just who I am. I have my morals and values. I have worked on my confidence and self worth. That is what really pushes me forward. To be honest, when I'm faced with a difficult decision that I have to make with the business, if something just doesn't align with me personally, I don't move forward with it because I just realized that it's just not for me. I realized that I built a business based off of who I truly am as a person, and I want to stay in that space. So I can say, having that in mind, that is what helped me get through challenging times, but then that also what keeps me moving forward. So I know where I've come from and where I'm going to continue to go.
And I think that's essential because you got to think about it. And I'm sure for not just you, but for all of us who are out here, maybe trying to start businesses or do new things in our lives, it's like you have to get to a point where you bet on yourself. And you
Correct.
clearly took a moment where you bet on yourself. I
Yeah.
would, I mean, you obviously did. And I'm thinking about again what she sent me. And you mentioned in a portion of it, it was like kind of like you were like fighting for your life during that time.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so it's like, what were you carrying that maybe people couldn't see because you come across so confident? Like you always had it. And I'm sure you always had it because you bet on yourself. Well, what were you carrying that people just didn't understand?
So y- years ago, I was in a moment in my life where I was depressed.
Hmm.
I had a life changing experience that happened to me, and it really affected me. It really just impacted my day to day living. And I didn't know who I was, to be honest with you. I had no clue. I had to figure this out.
Hmm.
I really did. And so I really just I'm gonna actually ask you to ask me the question again. Sorry, I
No,
lost my train of
it's
thought.
okay. I think you're kind of answering it. It's literally like, what were you carrying? Because
Oh,
obviously you were
yeah.
carrying some of those experiences from that traumatic moment during that time when you were building your business.
Yeah. So
It's
I was
okay.
carrying the weight of embarrassment. So when I had a traumatic experience in my life, and that's what really kind of kickstarted my depression,
Okay.
and it really changed the way I looked at family. It changed the way I looked at friendship.
Mhm.
I lost some friends, to be honest with you, and I just did not know who I was, at that time. So I had a lot of just guilt, I would say. And do I know why I had that guilt? But I feel like, as women, sometimes we take on problems and we hold it, we hold it dear to us, and we hold it like we have to solve that problem. We have to be superwoman. So again, not having the confidence and self-worth at that time, I was holding on to all of that weight. And that really it impacted me in a way where I felt like I couldn't make decisions. Again, I was depressed. There was times where I didn't even want to leave my house, to be honest with you, and I didn't leave my house some days. Some days I didn't even eat,
Mhm.
and I had to find I had to find something that gave me purpose. I had to find my light. I had to find something that I enjoyed. So I realized that baking is something that I was just peaceful when I was baking. It was mindless. I really enjoyed it. So I really held on to that, to be honest with you. I said, okay, what can I do? How can I put myself in this position where I'm baking more often so I could be in a place of peace? So having that, being able to really focus on that, has helped me in the moment, to really lessen the load, I should say.
Mhm.
Lessen the load that I felt at the moment. And so then when I went ahead and opened my shop, and the day of my opening, and I talk about this in my book, I had this white suit on, and it looked great. I'm with my daughter, I'm with my
Uh-huh.
family, but I was still internally fighting my own battles as far as with the depression. And it was very hard. It was very challenging, even to have to smile in some of the pictures. It was painful,
Mhm.
because I was still, again, I was working on my self-worth, but I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be in my life. I felt like everyone, again, I was holding on to embarrassment, so I was holding on to that. And so, yeah, so someone else may not see it in the pictures, but I see it when I look at myself,
Yeah.
and on my opening day.
No, I totally could imagine. And depression, totally understand. I've been there and it's so hard. But I commend you for even being able to power through. Like that shows to me such a level of determination to still go forward, still build this, still know that this is what you want to do, even in the midst of like depression. Because I understand what you're saying about not wanting to leave the house and not eating. It's tough, but you still power through. What was it that made you power through?
It, there was a series of things, to be honest. Obviously, I have my daughter, so my
Yeah.
daughter is love
Mhm.
of my life. I love her. That's my girl. Knowing that I had a purpose, meaning I was a mother. So, yes, I was sad internally and so on, but I had to show up for her.
Mhm.
She only has one childhood. And so I want to make sure that her memories in her childhood are the greatest that they can, possibly be. And I just didn't want a memory of hers to be, well, my mom was sad. My mommy didn't leave the house, or we couldn't go somewhere because my mom was depressed or whatever. I didn't even want her to even to know anything about depression. So
Yeah.
having that in the back of my mind, I said to myself, well, you have to push through. You have to figure out where's your light? You have to find it. And so, like I said, baking for me at that time was my light. That was the place where I could be as peaceful as possible. I could be as creative as possible. And it just took me away from feeling sad. So that's really what pushed me. And then I realized as I started to bake, I realized the way it made me feel great. However, my customers, when they would come pick up the cake or so on, how it made them feel. So it was like this back and forth, like, I felt great. I was on this wonderful feeling, this high, I would say, of feeling exciting and, excited and so on that I made this cake. And then knowing that when my customers picked up their cake, the smile on their face.
Yeah.
So it made me continue to bake and say, you know what, I may be feeling a certain way inside, but I'm able to produce this and I'm able to provide joy in the moment for someone else. So that's really what kept me going to the next cake and, the next customer, and so on.
Well, I'm really glad that you kept going. Like I've had your baked goods, your baked treats, and they're delightful. I remember when you made me cupcakes for my birthday, and I was so grateful.
Yes.
And they were I could taste the love in it, and it really meant a lot. So knowing that, I guess I'm really glad that you've got some of that love that you give to other people back to you.
Yes.
I'm really glad.
Yes.
I'm
I'm
really
glad
glad.
too.
Yeah. I know it's not easy to find yourself, but I'm easy. Cause again, like I just thinking about everything that you share with me and about how you talk about everything baking with purpose. So do you feel like that purpose was to find yourself and to spread joy?
It definitely was to spread joy. It
Mm-hmm.
definitely, yes, to find myself because I found myself, excuse me, more through
Mm-hmm.
baking. But I really enjoyed um, baking and giving joy to the
Yeah.
next person. I really enjoy that because I'm a firm believer in you don't know what the next person may be going through. You don't know, if they're
Mm-hmm.
having a tough day and that one cupcake, that had a smiley face on it or whatever, it really could make or break their day. Or, maybe they never had a birthday cake before. And here I am, I whipped up a chocolate ganache, cake or whatever, and it changed their life. So that it's just an addictive feeling for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say baking with a purpose, that is my purpose. I also teach classes, and part of the reason why I started teaching classes besides the pandemic, I
Right.
realized that when I teach classes, I'm pretty funny throughout the class. I always I talk and I talk about different things, and it people enjoy the experience of it.
Yeah.
A lot of people when they're baking, they some people get very nervous about it, like, oh, I can't bake, I can't, I don't know how to use the measuring spoons or cups and so on. So I make the experience very relatable,
Mm-hmm.
and so I love what I see customers, they walk away from my classes and they're excited that they actually produced something. They actually made a delicious cupcake, cookie, or whatever. And so I gave them that experience. And maybe I planted a little seed inside of them to say, you know what? I actually do like baking because that's what happened to me. I was watching a cake baking show and I just said, well, that looks cool. And had no clue what I was doing. And I went ahead and here I am years later,
Right.
um, with a business. So I just want to be able to bake with the purpose to give people joy and that joy of being able to be themselves, the joy of smiling, the joy of perhaps experiencing something that is new to them that they too can give to someone else.
I love that. I think it's just so cool because like you said, you get a chance to kind of teach people a little bit of healing, a little bit of love, a little bit of joy, a little bit of fun, and
Yeah.
you kind of make something yummy at the same time. It's a
At the same
really
time.
good thing.
Absolutely.
Um, it's cool because now that kind of leads me right into where I wanted to go with your book. And
Okay.
so, like I said, I read an excerpt, and your book it feels like a love letter. It feels like a love letter to your daughter, to your family, and the little girl inside of you. When did you kind of realize that you needed to do this and give that little girl and your family and your daughter that attention?
You know, when I started my healing journey,
Hmm.
I had a really good friend of mine. She had made a meditation table for me, and I still have
Okay.
this table. And
Okay.
it's a simple little wooden table, nothing too fancy. And I love it. I would sit at this table,
Hmm.
and that's where all my thoughts started to come into play. Where I knew that I loved baking, I knew that I had this healing that needed to be done, and this process, this journey that I needed to embark on. So I would sit at this table, and I started just writing. And I have tons of notebooks. I write down all my thoughts. I have to, that's my way of getting it out of my brain in a way, like, oh, I got to get my thoughts out. I have to put them down on paper. But when I continued to write in my journals, the same thoughts kept coming up, which was, I'm gonna own a bakery. I don't know where it came from, but it kept coming up. And I'm like, I don't know anything about a bakery. I don't know anything. And as I was saying this to myself, I had the doubt. So you start thinking of, no, I can't do this. I never opened up a bakery
Hmm.
before. I don't know what I'm doing, and so on. So I said to myself, I'm just going to listen to that little voice inside of me. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to go ahead and give her a shot, And I'm so glad I did. So when I started continuing to write down my thoughts, and I realized that opening the shop, I actually was opening a new chapter in my life personally at the same time. So as I was
Hmm.
building the shop, meaning networking, meeting new people, trying new recipes, and so on, I actually, at the same time, I was learning different coping mechanisms for myself.
Hmm.
I started therapy, I started other hobbies that I realized that I really enjoyed. So I was building myself the same time. Personally, I was building the
Okay.
business. And so I realized that the more I became connected with that inner voice within me, the better I was off,
Yeah.
as far as with my business is just
Hmm.
personally. So I can't say, I don't have a specific date and time where I'm like, this is when exactly when that
Right.
voice spoke to me. But I can say, though, it was simultaneously around the same exact time that I decided to open up the shop is when I was the most vulnerable I've ever been uh, in
Yeah.
my
Thanks.
life.
I know. Right.
Yeah, but I did it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that because again, it takes such an act of betting on yourself. And it's funny
Yes.
because like in the Red Velvet chapter, you kept reiterating how you are not going to be for everybody,
No.
and that's okay.
That's all right.
And it was all right. And I felt that quite a bit when I was reading that portion. And so I guess my question is, when did you stop trying to, was it in that moment, I guess maybe earlier when you decided to open the chapter, start writing your thoughts? Is that when you decided to start just relieving, like, I got this and didn't have to worry about it? Or were you a little bit later in it, you know?
I would say that was the moment, really, when I just said, this is who I am, and
Hmm.
I have to be comfortable with who I am, because if I'm not, who will? I'm the only Renelle, the only,
Yeah.
and maybe another Renelle in this world, but I'm just saying, as far as I am me, I
Right.
don't have a twin or anything like that. So I have to, like, like, I have to be comfortable with myself. So I just really just said to myself, I can meet so many people, in which I started to become more social. I started to meet more people,
Hmm.
and you come across people that, that may not, like you for whatever the reason may be. And again, that's okay. It shouldn't stop you from becoming who you are. And I had to teach myself that, but then I also had to teach my daughter that too.
Yeah.
So I had to become pretty good at that, so I can show her, I can lead by example. So that's why I was pretty clear in that chapter, the first chapter, Red
Yeah.
Velvet.
Hey, I'm not, red velvet is not for everybody. That's okay.
And
I'm
that's
not for
okay.
everybody. And I
That
loved
is
how you
okay.
kind of phrased it like that, because red velvet is kind of one of those things. It's not everybody doesn't love that cake. They
Yes.
just don't.
Yes.
I
Yes.
do, but I get it.
And that's actually one of my favorite chapters because I do talk about my daughter a lot
Yes.
in that chapter. It's that chapter is dedicated to her.
Mhm.
And again, I had to teach her that it is okay. You don't have to be friends with
Yeah.
everyone. You could be polite, of
Mhm.
course, respectful, but you don't have to be friends with everyone. And that
Yeah.
is okay, and showing her that after everything in the world, or after everything that you go through, different lessons and so on. I think
Mhm.
if you know that within yourself, you could walk away from whatever situation that doesn't fit you, or doesn't suit you, and be okay with that. So it's a skill, a life skill, to really become pretty good at, because you will have to walk away from situations where that are just not for you, or people that are just not for you, and you have to be okay with that.
Oh, totally agree. And that is a very hard lesson, especially, many of us growing up, we weren't taught those things practically.
Oh,
Like our parents were not sitting us down and having those conversations all the time.
no.
So, a lot of us are burned trial by fire.
Yes.
But I totally appreciate that. And I can tell, do you feel like your journeys and as you're continuing to evolve is how you are like now raising your daughter? Like, how does that like impacting your motherhood journey? How does that kind of parallel together?
Yeah, when you become a parent, there's no book that says, here you go. Here's the book.
Imagine.
Open to chapter 5 and everything you
Mhm.
need is
Right.
there. No, there's no book. So yeah, I'm really learning every day. I don't have the answers to everything.
Mhm.
And again, I really just focus on confidence. If you know your self-worth and you're confident in yourself, that will get you far. That's going to get you indoors, where you need to be, sitting at tables, or whatever you need to, advancing your career and so on. And personally, that's going to put you in safe places.
Right.
So it's yeah, definitely very important, and a skill to have. And again, I don't have all the answers. I'm not the best parent in the world, but what I do know is that I will teach my child that. And I hope she learns. She definitely picks up on it. I hope so.
Oh, I'm sure.
For sure. And yeah, I mean, I enjoy being a parent. It was scary, at first. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know if I was going to be, a great mother, but I realized that the more I became myself, the more she the more she continued to pick up on that, and
Mhm.
she can say, and she says it now, like, oh wow, mommy, you just went and did that. Yes, I did. If I'm going somewhere with the business, I take her as much as possible because I want her to see the
Mhm.
rooms that I have to walk in, and the people that I have to talk to, so she can, gain more experience, and also take that experience and apply that in her life and her journey along the way.
Oh, I love that because you can clearly see how you are trying to build legacy in her.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And building it
Trying.
through you. Yes, but you're doing a wonderful job and doing that while healing. That's very
Yes,
powerful,
yes,
very
yes.
powerful. So I guess kind of even leading into healing or leaning into healing a little bit more.
Yeah,
In the book, you were writing about it. And when you were writing about your healing journey, you talked about having to face the person who caused your pain. What did
yeah.
that season teach you, though, about strength when you were in that moment?
That season taught me, whew, I'm a bad woman. That's what that season taught me. That I
Okay.
can, yeah, I definitely can persevere through
Mhm.
whatever challenges I have set in front of me. I have really have come a long way
Mhm.
with with a particular person. I really have. And I had to do it for myself. I had to forgive, not for them. Forgiveness is for yourself. And I didn't understand that saying. It took me a very long time to understand that saying. But I realized the more I forgave, the lighter I became,
Yes.
and the stronger I felt. So I feel now I'm more confident that if I'm faced with a challenge, that I know I have more tools in my tool bag. I know I can go back to my toolbox and say, oh, I've seen this before. Let me
Yes.
sort this out. Let me go grab this tool. And if I don't, have the right tool, okay, then I know the resources where to get it from.
I get it.
So it definitely has strengthened me, and it's helped me, even in future relationships. If I'm in a situation where this person does not suit me or this person is not for me,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm more comfortable with saying, no, this is not working. This is not going to work for me. So it definitely has helped me, that time, in my life. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the experience. And I'm grateful that I'm able to talk about it. There was a time where I could not talk about it, where I would get emotional, or, I just didn't even have the right vocabulary, to be able to express how I felt. But now I can have a conversation about it. I can identify if someone else is, having a hard time expressing their emotions. I could, definitely help them to describe and, let them know you're not alone. It happened to me, or it happened to, so on. So it definitely has helped me, in that moment, and has helped me, really just move forward in my life. Forgive them and just move
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah. And that's powerful because a lot of people are carrying so much weight, so many
Yes.
traumatic experiences, and so
Yes.
much unforgiveness, and it holds you back. And I love how you have shifted that and trying to make sure that obviously it doesn't hold you prisoner, which I think is great. Do
Yes.
you feel like there are boundaries and everything that you put up in place now to help make sure that you are protecting yourself? Because that takes a lot of vulnerability to put your pain out there,
Yes.
you
It,
know?
it, it definitely does. And I think that's what took me so long.
Hmm.
I started writing this book 6 years ago,
Okay.
and there was several different forms of this book, several different ways. And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to talk about, my experiences.
Okay.
And I realized that it's I ended up going with this form,
Hmm.
and it's almost like a journal in itself. It's very engaging with the readers, and I did that because, again, my biggest thing is I want people to feel or know that they're not alone. That is one of the hardest things I personally feel when I was going through my depression, where I felt like I was alone. As soon as I start realizing that, no, I'm not the only person that this happened to, or, this is happening across the board, or, or so on. It was healing in a way. And it definitely helped me to continue to heal,
Yeah.
in a direction that I certainly wanted to.
I like that. And because it is a different format. It's like there's a story, there's a recipe,
Yeah.
there's opportunity to reflect. It's just,
Yeah.
it is a beautifully done workbook because, like you said, sometimes, I don't know, healing feels like it can be found in the creative,
Yes.
you know? It really does. So I'm really glad that you were sharing that format. How does your daughter feel about the book?
Well, she's heard me read out loud so many
Oh, I'm
times,
sure. That's why I said I know she's got an opinion.
She hasn't heard all the chapters. She's definitely read
Okay.
the Red Velvet chapter for sure.
Yes,
She's read
absolutely.
some, but I really, when I started to write the book, like I said,
Hmm.
the book really changed different forms.
Yes.
And what I enjoy about the book now, you could be any age reading this book and you
Yeah.
will understand it. That's why I
Hmm.
really like. And so She does enjoy the book. Like I said, some of the chapters that I have read to her,
Mhm.
she thought it was very funny when I read the Red Velvet
Yeah.
chapter, because she looked at me and said, "Well, how do you know red velvet is my favorite flavor?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I'm your mother, you know?" And
Right.
so it made her like really think to, like, wow, my mom really pays attention to me, or my mom is really like,
Mhm.
I don't even have
Yeah.
to say this stuff. How does she know this stuff?
Mhm.
And so I could tell, it definitely made her proud in a way. She actually tells me, sometimes at school, she'll say, "Oh, I told my teacher about your business. Oh, I told my
Aw,
teacher about this." And I've gotten customers from my daughter. They'll say, "Oh yeah, your daughter told me about you." My daughter used to walk around with business cards, my business cards
I
in her
love
book
it.
bag.
I love it.
Yes.
Got your own
So
little hype man right
that
there.
is, I mean, yes. So I definitely love her. So yes, she is excited about the book. She did
Good.
say, "Finally, you're done," because it took so long. Uh,
The shade, but
Yes, yes. But she is excited for it. I think it took her a while to understand as far as, oh, you're really putting this book together. I think she took it as, oh, this is just mommy writing in her journal. And then when
right.
she really saw me actually, moving to my computer and typing it all in, she's like, oh no, you're really doing something with this. Like, yes, I am. It's not just my journal.
Right. This is actually a book. This is part of your
Yes,
legacy.
yes.
Yeah.
So she's excited overall, and I'm just excited for her to experience, the journey that I went through
Mhm.
to write the book, and I hope that it just I planted, excuse me, a seed within her to, even if it doesn't have to be writing a book, but to be as creative as she would like, whatever
Yeah.
makes her happy, and so yeah, I hope I
I
did that
like
for her.
that. Because that is, like I said, it is very rare for women, especially for Black women, to be
Yes,
so open and honest with our traumas to the point where we
yes,
talk to our children in a way from a place of bitterness about the things that we've been through, but from a place of, I want you to understand that I survived, and I don't want you to follow my footsteps, but I want you to understand where I came from.
absolutely,
Yeah, I think
absolutely.
that's really good, because I was going to ask you, like, thinking about it, of your book, like I said, it does feel like a very beautiful love letter to your family, to her. When you think about your legacy, not just what you're going to leave behind, which is this beautiful body of work, but how you live day to day, what matters most to you now.
You know, ooh, that's when I think about the beginning, what
Mhm.
started this book. And I did mention this in the intro to the book. My mother, we love her macaroni and cheese. She's great
Yes.
at it. She
Mhm.
knows, come
Mhm.
Thanksgiving or family gathering, she's the one. Don't
Right.
ask somebody else. She's the one. And my mother, the thing is, we always joke she doesn't write this stuff down. She never writes her recipes down.
Right.
So I have a big family. I have four siblings, well,
Mhm.
four sisters, and I have a younger brother.
Oh, I love it.
And we always, we'll text her and say, "Mom, how do you make the mac and cheese, or how do you make pasta salad, or whatever?" And she'll tell us, but every time there's something different. There's a, oh yeah, this, because she doesn't write it down. What she does, she
Yeah.
keeps it on her head, and as she's
Mhm.
cooking,
Yeah.
she'll throw in an extra dash of pepper or whatever. And we joke about it that she, doesn't write this stuff down, but I realized that we're not the only family like that. In our
Yeah.
culture, we just don't write it down.
Yeah.
Why? I don't know. But yet we want these recipes to continue to live through our families, even after, a person may have passed away or so on. So um, I took that in mind, and I really kind of put together my thoughts as far
Mhm.
as with my recipes and so on. And I created this book,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty cool. So I'm hoping, after reading this book, whoever reads this book, that I plant a seed in them to write down their thoughts, and maybe write down their recipes as well. And if you don't have a journal, if you don't have a sacred place to write this stuff down, write it in this book. So then you can give this book to a family member, a friend, or whomever. But our lovely recipes are written down. And so that's when I think about legacy, that's what I want my legacy to be, is that I want people to bake with a purpose, which is passing on the legacy, passing on joy, passing on that recipe.
Yeah. I love that, because you're right. Most of us don't. I know personally, I
No.
cook and just season until the ancestors tell me
See?
to stop. That's
That's
really
right.
all I got. I don't have anything else. I don't. I do follow a lot of recipe books. I love a good
Hmm.
recipe. But
Yeah,
yeah, you know, when you have your own, you just zhuzh it up and it never
just
tastes
do
the
it.
same the entire time, but it tastes good. That's all you need to know.
Yes,
But
yes.
I love that, because I agree. We do have to, if you think about it, we're the modern day griots of our family. We're the storytellers. And so we have to get into that habit of being able to continuously tell our story. So I love that. So I have
Yeah,
us a few additional questions for you.
sure.
Just, you know, well, some fun, some not, but some deep, some fun.
Okay.
So one, for the woman who's listening, who might feel like she's in survival mode and trying to figure it out, what would be one thing you would want her to know?
She's not alone.
Yeah.
She's not the only one.
Yeah.
And talk to whoever you feel safe with,
Mm-hmm.
and talk and write down your thoughts, and know that your voice matters. I feel like at times, um, we can feel like our tongue is heavy. And when I say that we don't want to speak how we feel, or we're
Mm-hmm.
too nervous about, oh, if I say this, then, we're afraid of what can happen at the back end. But your voice matters. And we matter.
Yeah.
So yes, you're not alone. Find your safe place, and find a hobby, or find something that makes you happy. It could be just doodling in a notebook. And if that makes you happy, then go buy all the notebooks you possibly can and doodle away, because having that piece of joy for even a few minutes, that's going to open up another chapter for you to move forward. And then that's going to open up another chapter. And you're only going to continue to heal to a place, or get to a place where, you can actually begin to talk about it and feel safe and feel comfortable to talk about what's going on. And then you too can, help another person heal or get to where they should be.
I love that. That is totally how I feel about this space. That's why I created it the same, just like you, in the cycle of healing and wanting other people to just not make the same mistakes that I'm making, and to create spaces for women to support and encourage each other. So
Absolutely.
that was one of the reasons why I also wanted to talk to you, because I knew you were that kind of soul. So thank you for that. Thank you. So then now,
Fantastic.
okay, I have to ask, because it's been on my mind the entire time we've been talking. What is your favorite dessert?
Ooh, I love a brownie. Just
Okay. Yeah.
brownie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream. The brownie has to be heated up in the
Yes.
microwave.
Mhm. Yes. Yes. With a little mushy,
Just a
moist
little,
center.
yes. And then a scoop of vanilla ice cream. That is my absolute favorite, my go-to. If you're trying to get to my soft side, that's what it is right there.
I had to ask, because I'm like, my goodness, the amount of stuff that you make and see, I just had to know. I'm like, she has to have a favorite. She just has to have
Brownie.
one favorite for herself.
Yes, yes. And I'm pretty simple. I love baking. I love what I do, but and I try, like you said, I've baked so many different things, and I've tried different desserts, but there's something about just a classic brownie.
I love it. Yes, a good classic brownie is essential.
Yes, yes.
I agree. Do you have a word for 2026?
Oh man, a word. I would have to say abundance.
Mm, yeah, yeah,
Abundance.
yeah.
Stand in
You,
it, be okay with it.
yeah. I was gonna say your energy feels wealthy. And when I talk about feeling wealthy, it's not a money thing, but you feel like you're surrounded in love.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in a really great place, to be honest with you. I'm. It was perfect timing to finish this book,
Mhm.
and I think everything happens for a reason. I
Yes.
think there's a reason why it took me 6 years to get to where I'm at, and it's just perfect. So
Mhm.
yes, I am in a great space, and I hope I continue to grow
Yes.
and in a better space. But I hope the joy that I have. I hope that it can rub off, excuse me, on the next person and give them whatever joy that they feel like they may need at the moment. Because we all need it. We all need an extra hug and an extra friend sometimes, someone to simply say, "I hear you," and so. That's all I want, and I want to be able to motivate people. I want them to know that again, I'm self-taught. I'm a self-taught baker. I opened the bakery
Okay.
with a $5,000 budget and a hope and a wish. And
Yeah.
here I am.
I
And you
love
can
it.
do it.
Yeah, I love that because it's that betting on yourself. It's the
You have
hardest part, but
to.
sometimes you just have to try. I'm so glad that you tried. So
Yes.
then I want you to tell us all about you. So like, come on now, where are you
Absolutely.
located? Tell us where we can get the book. Like, give us all the deets, and I will make sure that I put it in the show notes too. But yeah, we got to support and follow.
Love that. Love that. So my bakery, again, the full name is Nelly Streets Boutique Bakery. You can find me on Instagram and also Facebook. And I also have a website, nellystreets.com. You can find the book if you go right on my webpage. It's right there. You can't miss it. Order book. Go ahead and click. I'm located in Cohoes, New York.
Yes. Yes. So I definitely for all of you guys now, have you thought about delving into the online shipping thing? Or are you trying to figure that out?
I have thought about that, to be honest with you. That is definitely, there's a lot of levels to that as far as completing it, but that is something I am
Okay.
certainly considering
I love it.
because, I'm always looking to grow and experience new
Yeah.
things.
Well, I love that. I love that. And definitely when I'm back in Albany again, because I will be there soon to see my husband, I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm going to make him sign us up for one of the courses
Awesome.
so we can, because I want to do it. I told him that. So, honey, I know you're listening. I want to do that. I want to do that. He'll do it.
Got it. You
He'll do
hear
it.
it?
He will do it. He took me to a cooking class for a
I
date.
love that.
And I was so surprised. And it just speaks to my inner love language because I love to cook and bake. So, girl, yeah, I got
What
to do
did you
you, of
guys
course.
cook? I'm curious.
We went to Sur La Table
Okay.
and we
Okay.
made lobster ravioli and blood orange salad and crostinis. And honey, he did good.
I
He
like
did
that.
good. I was so impressed. So yes, he
That's
did good. So
great.
he
It's
can bake this
great.
cake or these cookies. We're gonna do this together. Yes, we're gonna do that.
Yes,
We're gonna
that's
do it.
fantastic. Love
So
it.
yes, I will make sure I put all the information in the show notes for you. And then I have one final question for you.
Absolutely.
As you sit right now in this moment in your life,
Okay.
what feels the most well done?
The fact that I can talk about my experiences, the fact that I can share my experiences, the fact that I can own it
Yeah,
and that's it. And there's no apologies,
I
be
love
my
it.
unapologetic self, as they say.
Yes.
That feels well done to me.
I love that. That is a gift. Because a lot of people don't feel that way. And so I'm so grateful that you are feeling that way. I'm so excited to read the rest of the book. So yes, I'll be going to purchase a copy so I can finish the rest of
Awesome,
it. Because I
awesome.
want the recipes too. Like I gotta build the repertoire. And
Yeah.
I really want to thank you for sitting down and taking time with me. I'm really excited about your growth and I will always support, I will always share your information. So I'm really excited to see what you do because I know that this is just the beginning for you.
Well, I thank you so much for this opportunity. Like I said, this was the first for me, but when you reached out to me, I said absolutely. I think this is amazing. And it gives the readers, an opportunity to
Yeah.
really get to know who I am as a person behind the words in the book. So
Yeah.
again, I thank you, and I really appreciate this time.
Oh, no, it was my pleasure. So, guys, I will make sure I share all of Renel's information in the show notes, the links, and we look forward to sharing more with you. And anytime you want to come back, come back. I'm happy to talk. And I will see you when I come back to Albany soon.
I'll
So,
be
thank you
there.
again for your time, for everything. And we really appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. You're
Thank
welcome. So,
you.
guys, that's the episode this week. I'll make sure that I'm going to be back next week with another episode. I have some other things to talk about, some new things that we're going to be doing. So, more to come, more to come. But please take care of yourselves and each other. I hope that you will have a wonderful rest of the weekend and week, and we'll talk again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.